I'm Dr. David Bull. I'm chairman of Reform UK. I've had a very different backstory. I'm a medical doctor by training, and I've worked for 30 years in television. I've been involved in politics really for many years, but I became a Brexit Party MEP in 2019. I was then deputy leader of the party, and now I'm really proud to say I'm chairman of the party. And so I suppose my passion for politics has always been about fairness. This is about ensuring that people get access to healthcare, that we keep the NHS free at the point of need, but at the same time actually improve the service so people get really good outcomes, and so they are better than we are currently seeing, where we are falling far behind Europe. So for me, it's all about fairness. It's about putting British people first. It's about reinvigorating this great country and putting great back into Britain. I've been on a very long political journey. In 2019, I became a Brexit Party MEP, and one of the proudest moments of my life is voting for Brexit, carrying the Union flag out of the European Parliament. We got on the Eurostar, we took the Union flag back to where it belonged. It's extraordinary to be part of political history. I've no doubt about that. There's something inside that says this is a semblant moment in British history. This is the moment when politics changed for good. I've never felt anything quite like this. I know we're on a mission. I can feel it. I can sense it whenever I go outside and talk to people. People are desperate for change. They're tired of the two-party system, and they believe that Reform UK can deliver it, and we are going to prove them right. The next step for us is to show the public that we are ready, we are competent, we are going to form the next party of government, and we are going to smash the political system. Britain needs reform.
Please welcome to the stage Dr. David Bull.
Well, good evening, Newark. Well, what a reception. Thank you so much. Let me just tell you, it's fantastic to be here with you in Newark, of course, an historic market town. Now, like much of the United Kingdom, Newark has a proud industrial past based on the cloth industry, on engineering and manufacturing of agricultural machinery. And, ladies and gentlemen, under a Reform UK government, Newark will have a proud industrial and technological future. Well, I'm Dr. David Bull, and as you know, I am the chairman of this great party. Let me tell you, we are the fastest growing political party in this country. We are the fastest growing political party ever seen in British history. We are the largest political party in this country. We have now overtaken both Labour and the Tories. And it gets better than that. We are the most talked about party in the United Kingdom. And this week, we now have 7 members of Parliament. The number of members of Parliament is climbing by the day, and make no mistake, we are about to become the next party of government. Now, Newark, in many ways, epitomises a microcosm of the rest of England. As you know, this is a proud Brexit-supporting area which voted to leave the EU by over 60%. And like much of England, it feels let down, it feels betrayed, it feels abandoned by the political class and the two main political parties. Now, this town sits almost exactly in the middle of England, so Newark is quite literally Middle England. Now, until recently, this constituency was the very definition of a Tory stronghold. Newark has voted Conservative in every single general election since 1979, bar one, of course, in 1997, which propelled Tony Blair to power. But after 14 years of failure and broken promises, the Tories are facing an existential crisis. Let me tell you, the latest MRP poll now puts Reform UK well in the lead at 31%. We are 10 points clear of the closest rival. So what exactly does that mean? Well, this is what it means. If there was a general election tomorrow, it is predicted that Reform UK would gain anything between 377 to 450 members of Parliament. And that would mean we can get stuff done. We would have a parliamentary majority of between 52 and 125 seats. Let me tell you this. This has never, ever been seen in British history before. And here's the really good news. Labour would collapse to just 85 seats. And as for the Tories, they would be utterly annihilated. Their remaining MPs could go home in a minibus. Make no mistake, the old parties are well and truly finished. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our moment. Now, the Tories believe they have a divine right to govern. How wrong they are. Let's just remind ourselves, shall we, of the chaos, the disorder, and the destruction they wreaked on Britain over their 14 years in government. They presided over record tax hikes. The tax burden under the Tories reached a 70-year high, which hit families very hard. They caused economic chaos with the implementation of the 2022 mini-budget, which damaged credibility, it raised mortgage costs, and it shook markets. The Tories were responsible for austerity and public service erosion. They implemented deep cuts into local councils, into courts, and to youth services, and to social care. They stood by, and they allowed a cost of living crisis. Under them, living standards stagnated, wages failed to keep pace with prices, and people were left bereft and struggling. Under the Tories, the UK productivity flatlined, which made the country poorer than comparable countries. They bankrupted this country. They tripled our national debt. They repeatedly missed house building targets, and as a result, rents and prices surged. That locked younger generations out of home ownership. The very thing that Margaret Thatcher herself believed so strongly in. The NHS was thrown into an even deeper crisis, with record waiting lists, staff burnout, and repeated reorganisations, with little improvement seen in clinical care and outcomes. And what I cannot forgive them for is the total and utter mismanagement of Brexit. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the very thing we in the Brexit Party fought so hard to achieve. The Tory hierarchy was utterly played by the European Union. Remember, Theresa May never, ever believed in Brexit, and she capitulated. She allowed Brussels to run amok. They allowed the annexation of Northern Ireland. They put a border in the Irish Sea. They abandoned 2 million of our citizens. We still have not Brexited properly. We have not slashed tax. We have not made the UK the #1 economic destination of the world. Let me tell you, we have not seen the benefits of Brexit that we were promised, and that is down to poor planning and abysmal leadership. Under the Tories, the response to the COVID pandemic was one of panic and shocking decision-making. They should never have allowed the country to be locked down. They should never have kept children out of schools. And as a doctor, the worst sin of all was discharging elderly patients to care homes without testing them for COVID. What they did, they consigned elderly people to die alone, frightened, scared, and without family. And I find that utterly unforgivable. The Tories also were responsible for an open-door policy on migration. They allowed nearly 150,000 illegal migrants into our country. They threatened our way of life, our safety, our security, and our economy. Under Boris Johnson, they allowed 3.8 million unskilled migrants legally into this country. Nearly 1 million of them are about to get indefinite leave to remain. Half of these migrants will never work. 60% are low-skilled, and a high percentage do not even speak English. This is another unacceptable policy courtesy of the Tories. So to recap, what did the Tories actually give us? They gave us open borders, a shattered economy, and a broken healthcare system. Let me tell you, the Tories can never, ever be trusted again. And just before you think, well, Labour may well be the answer, think again. It's absolutely incredible. They are now on their 13th U-turn, the latest being over digital ID. And judging by the headlines this weekend, another one is imminent over the abolition of trial by jury. Rachel Reeves and the Labour government have no idea how to grow an economy. They have no idea how to help business to thrive. In fact, everything they have done has hammered the very people they are meant to be helping. That budget, it was a total abomination. It was a naked attack on working Britain. She attacked the strivers, the doers, and the risk-takers. Despite promises to the contrary, Labour did what it always does, which is increase tax. The rise in employer national insurance forced many businesses to stop recruiting or close their doors. And then in November, Reeves clobbered people with that car crash of a budget. She froze income tax thresholds for a further 3 years. That means that in 2030, taxes will hit an all-time high. That will equate, and this is astounding, to a whopping 38% of GDP. That, again, is an astonishing betrayal from a party. Do you remember, prior to the election, they said tax would not go up for working people. Guess what? They lied. Any semblance of respectability or trust in the government has long since evaporated. And as someone who has run a small business, not one member of that cabinet has ever run a company. Not one. They are a Mickey Mouse outfit. Well, Rachel Reeves also announced plans to tax people's properties. She attacked people's savings. She capped that tax-free ISA limit at £12,000. And that is total madness. Policy is meant to encourage fiscal responsibility and saving. And when you think about it, who did she actually attack? She attacked pretty much everyone. The farmers, people who send their kids to private schools, pubs. She attacked industries. They have presided over rocketing energy costs, the insanity of net zero. They gave away sovereign British territory, and, this is incredulous, they're about to allow the Chinese to build a super embassy with secretive rooms in the heart of London, just meters from critical infrastructure. I hope you'll agree with me, this is total and utter madness. Would you not agree? So given all of the above, is it any wonder that over 250,000 hard-working people have already left the country since Labour came to power? Now, the travesty of those people is the majority of them are aged between 16 and 35. They have decided there is no future for hard work and aspiration in this country. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a disaster for the United Kingdom. And under this Labour government, they have allowed the illegal invasion of our country to continue unabated. Total illegal immigration for last year was 41,000. That is up 13% on the previous year. Last year had the second highest number of crossings. And since Labour came to power, an astonishing 65,000 people have come here illegally. Its smash the gangs policy is in tatters. Its one in, one out policy is a global laughingstock. It's not one in, one out. In fact, the latest figures show that since Keir Starmer signed that deal, over 16,000 people have arrived here illegally. And how many of those 16,000 do you think have actually been removed? The answer is 193. That is appalling. It's pathetic. And reform, ladies and gentlemen, will put a stop to this madness once and for all. It is amazing, as chairman, to watch the progress this great party is making. Across the country, we are consistently polling now in first place. We have led the last 200 polls. And of course, Labour now is so worried about our rise in those polls and how well we are doing, they are poised to postpone elections in 22 areas of the country, and we will not take that lying down. We are seeking a judicial review. You see, the thing is, cancelling elections is something only dictators do. The notion that elections are too expensive and too cumbersome is wholly unacceptable. Starmer and his cronies should be ashamed, and they should be booted out of office. But the more that Labour runs from the electorate and the more we see of the dysfunctional Tory party, the higher we go in the polls. The game is up, and the politicians know this. Now, last week we welcomed 3 high-profile defectors, including 2 former members of the Tory shadow cabinet, and over 20 councillors joined us as well. Now, on Thursday, a very high-profile member of the Tory shadow cabinet made the bold and very brave decision to defect to our party because he could no longer justify remaining in that failed party. And that sent the Tories into abject chaos. Well, let me just tell you, we are utterly delighted. And as chairman, I want to welcome Robert Jenrick the man who until yesterday was our latest Member of Parliament, to our team, to our family, and to our cause. As Robert himself said, the Tories haven't changed, they won't change, and they can't change. And let me tell you, in terms of MPs, we are now 7. We are the magnificent 7. And we're growing by the day. Let me be very clear. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, the stakes could not be higher because we have a country to save. We cannot afford to fail. We cannot afford to be complacent because we have to fight for the future of the United Kingdom. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the moment where we have to come together, we have to work together, we have to campaign together, and we have to fight for a new, energized, dynamic, optimistic vision of what the United will become under a reform administration. Because let me just tell you this, together we will save this great country, and the hard work, ladies and gentlemen, starts right now. Well, we've got some fantastic speakers for you tonight. Our first speaker tonight is a former miner who worked alongside our very own Lee Anderson. Well, he's been involved in politics since 2003 when he was elected to Mansfield District Council. And in that time, he held an array of cabinet roles, including deputy leader. He recently became a county councillor, taking the Mansfield seat from the Conservatives. He is now the leader of Nottinghamshire County Council. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mick Barton.
Before I start, wow. There's only reform could do what reform's done this weekend since Friday when the announcement came in 2-3 days. We're all sat in this room together. And this is what reform's all about to me. So anyway, I won't bore you anymore. I'll get on with my speech. Good evening, everyone. It is such an honour to be asked to come here tonight to speak to you all as the first reform leader of this great county. With such distinguished guests that's just gone before me, which coming after me. I can see a lot of excitement building in Nottinghamshire for the future as we welcome Robert Jenrick into the Reform family. I'm really looking forward to working with Robert, as I already do with Lee, as I have done for many years. We are blessed to know how now that we have 2 MPs in our county to represent us in Parliament. We hope and pray that the hard work we are doing now will make Nigel Farage our next Prime Minister of this great country. To be here in Newark this evening as a leader of Nottinghamshire County Council is a dream come true for me. This is where I have grown up and worked all my life, and it is a true privilege. In 2002, I had the opportunity to start my political career in Mansfield. 21 years later, I've got the opportunity of a lifetime when I joined Reform UK. And to be honest, I've never looked back. Since I joined Reform, it has not just been part of my life, it's actually become my life. I get up every morning motivated, excited, of what we can achieve on a daily basis, and we're doing that. I could not do this with any of this without the continued support of my residents and the councillors I work with, who are all here tonight. So thank you. As a leader, on a daily and weekly basis, we also get an awful lot of support from HQ, and I mean a lot of support. Also from my fellow leaders, they are a big part of the Reform family, driving this country forward on a daily basis, along with all our MPs and the leadership team. I, like you, was tired and fed up of this country I love going into decline under the previous and current administrations with false promises and neglect. Following many months of canvassing from our Reform group, we smashed the election with 41 seats last May. Seeing us take full control of Nottinghamshire County Council. I'll be honest with you, I'm still buzzing from it now. What a fantastic feeling to know we have the power, the expertise and the know-how to make massive changes across this county we all love, and for the people we serve. Upon nominated as leader, my first job was to put into fruition our promises we made to you, our members and our residents, and those was our manifesto pledges. Top of every resident's list comes the highways and the issues we've got with highways. We inherited decades of neglect in our highway structure as a result of lack of funding, expensive ways of working and very slow progress. We now have an opportunity to make massive changes in the way we deliver this service. In 7 months of being elected, we have reported and serviced over 28,000 potholes and resurfaced 18 miles of road. And you will all noticed the potholes on the way here. Don't worry, they'll be done. But this is Sam Smith's patch, and he's a Conservative, so we'll blame him, he's not here. We all know we still have a long way to go, but this year we're putting more money in the budget than ever before. I've introduced an highways review, which will see new and improved ways of working, and a first-time approach being rolled out, so we do things properly. We have also introduced a surface dressing programme where many more miles of road will be resurfaced and sealed, extending the life of the road. The system we are using costs between £6 and £8 a square metre, instead of the previous administration's approach, which cost between £60 and £80 a square metre. This is reform in action. We get things done, or we're going to get things done. We are going to visit JCB in a few weeks to look at new machinery to help us speed up the process. I'll be honest with you, I let one of my neighbouring leaders in Derbyshire have 2 on trial first before we spent the money. Now he says they're okay, we're going to go and have a visit ourselves. So there's method in my madness. I guarantee you will all see a massive improvement in the state of our roads and highways under our administration due to the growing surge of Union flags flying around the country. We decided to erect 180 banners around our county. Thank you, that's very kind. The banners have given out a message that we Reform are here and we have restored civic pride within our communities once again. Unlike the opposition, we're not ashamed to fly our country's flag. We're very proud of it. Moving forward, the banners will be used for a multitude of purposes, advertising, fostering, kingship carer and adoption programmes. If this programme provides just one loving family to take a child out of care system into a loving home, it will be money well spent and well worthwhile doing. We will also use the banners to advertise Remembrance Day, Nottinghamshire Day, community events, and we also have a massive interest from our business community who would like to advertise on these too. So from our point of view, it's a great piece of work rolling forward, and it will work. In my first few weeks in office, I also introduced an efficiencies programme. This was to look into all the council's spend across the board. Every area is under scrutiny. We have looked at how services are delivered and the best ways of working and how we can manage more efficiently moving forward. To date, we have already identified more than £45 million worth of savings that we feel can be delivered over our administration, and I'm going to make sure we do bring those savings in. No previous administration has done that, but it's your money, and that's why we're going to do it. This process will be delivered with no job losses and no cuts to services. This will be achieved through better ways of working and more efficient processes. We have set ourselves high expectations that I am sure we can deliver. Reform was elected to fix problems, make efficiencies, and to deliver top-notch services. Promises made, promises kept. Within the next few weeks, myself and the cabinet members will be getting out into the community. We have 2 informal cabinets a week already, one with officers, one with themselves. I'm going to introduce a plan to get out and take our cabinet out into the community at least once a fortnight, so we can we want to visit businesses out in the community. We want to visit businesses of all sizes, whether it be a cafe, a public house, a factory, along with churches, schools, colleges and charities. The reason for this is to reach out to our communities. We represent them and find out firsthand exactly how we can help and promote and enhance the work they do within our communities and within their business. This is a new approach to politics and local government that Reform and our council promises to deliver. It's fresh. We have also introduced a new council plan to cover all the work we are doing over the administration, bringing in the Reform values of family, community and county. Within this plan, we will improve our services across the council which we provide. Special education needs, education, children and social care, the highways, I've already mentioned, health and well-being and thriving communities. Using fresh approaches and new ideas and producing better outcomes for everyone. By listening to our communities, involving them in our plans and services and the decisions that actually impact on them. This plan is not just about today, it's about building a better tomorrow for all our residents. We will do this with the help of all our local people and partners. We will deliver real improvements, prepare for changes and challenges ahead. We know it's not going to be easy, and make Nottinghamshire the very best it can be for everyone who calls Nottinghamshire our own. We are also committed to the Armed Force Veterans community. We are very fortunate to have so many veterans within our group who have a passion and serve in the veteran community. We have already introduced an Armed Forces team who have brought some really good ideas, one of them introducing breakfast clubs, welcoming those who served along with their families to provide support. Finally, I have only touched on a little bit of the work we are doing. I can assure you, the residents, members and fellow county councillors and I will work tirelessly to ensure we succeed everything that we have promised to deliver that I've just told you about, and lots more. So please keep supporting us like you have here today, because we are one big family, and we're called Reform. We have some fantastic branches across the county, a lot of you are here tonight, which are very well run and growing by the month. So please continue to stay involved and believe in our commitment to succeed as we all do every day. Reform is only just getting started for the vision of Nottinghamshire. We want to see employment rising, businesses thriving and communities feeling safer and more content. I want us to have civic pride in everything we do within our communities and bring back greatness to Nottinghamshire. We all want this. We want to grow reform day by day. We are building Britain to be great once more. Please join me and help us get our country back. Thank you, you've been very kind. Remember, family, community, country. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much indeed. Fantastic stuff. Well, our next speaker has been the Member of Parliament for Ashfield since 2019. Oh, yes. He was originally elected as a member of the Conservative Party, but he saw the light and defected to Reform UK 2 years ago, becoming our party's first Member of Parliament. Ashfield born and bred, he also started life as a coal miner, and his views have stayed stable as the world of uniparty politics have shifted around him. Unafraid of saying what he thinks, please welcome the very scary Chief Whip of Reform UK and the champion of plain-speaking Britain, ladies and gentlemen, Lee Anderson MP.
Wow, what a brilliant intro that was. Thank you, David. We're going to play the yes or no quiz for a start. Do you want your country back? Yes! Do you want our borders to be secure? Yes! Do you want our streets to be safe? Yes! Do you want illegal migrants to be detained and deported? Yes! Do you want our police force to be allowed to do their job? Do you want our schools to stop indoctrinating our children? Yes! Congratulations, you are all far-right fascists. Every single one of you. Well, of course you're not. You're all hard-working, decent people who've had enough of our politicians. But we are labelled this way by the liberal left, who spend their lives, their whole lives, apologising for our history, our heritage and our culture. And we will never do that. We are proud to be British. I am honoured to be an Englishman. To be born here is a privilege and an honour. But with this honour comes a responsibility. We all of us here today, tonight in this country, are responsible for leaving our country in a better state than when we arrived, but we are failing. Just go down the road a few miles away to RAF Scampton, where 617 Squadron, the Dam Busters, were based during the Second World War. Thousands of young men flew suicide missions to save our great country and the world from tyranny. And what would they think about today? Shocking. Our once great nation is becoming a laughingstock. We have become a nation where nothing works. Our police don't police. Our armed forces have been depleted. Our health service cares more about DEI roles than treating patients. We send people to prison for social media comments, and we are allowing medical experiments on our children, and we cancel elections. I could go on and on. But first, I want to welcome you to the historic town of Newark upon Trent, where on the 26th of November 1645, during the English Civil War, yeah, anybody remember that? What, you're working at Pitt at time? Okay. The new model army descended on this very town due to its strategic position, and we all know how that ended. But on the 19th of January 2026, a different army has descended upon Newark, and this time it's the People's Army. You lot. The People's Army who have helped turn Nottinghamshire into a Reform UK stronghold. And mark my words, we will never surrender. We will fight. We will fight the main two parties at every single ballot box until victory is ours at the next general election. And that man behind there, Nigel Farage, is in number 10. Mark my words. Reformers, this is a crucial fight. We have just one chance to save our country. This is a fight for the heart and soul of our great country. A fight we must win. A fight that will get dirty and there will be casualties. And parts of the media will be circling around like vultures, looking to pick us off. But we must be strong and stick together. There is. Yeah? There is an infestation in our parliament, an infestation of career politicians who put their parties before people. Politicians that promise one thing and then deliver another. Politicians that treat us all with contempt. And politicians that will say anything to get into power. I've seen it firsthand, and I do not like what I see. And it's time for you lot, the silent majority, to kick these treacherous MPs out of Parliament for good. Have no fear, the Reform Rescue Party is here. Just last week we had 5 MPs. This week we've got 7. I feel a little bit sorry for Kemi. You know, to lose 1 MP may be considered misfortunate. To lose 2 looks like carelessness. To lose 3 looks like the end of the Conservative Party. Their loss is our gain, and we've added 2 fantastic MPs last week, as well as Danny Kruger, who came just a few months ago. These MPs, by the way, have put their country before their party, and make no mistake, while the Tory faithful are attacking our latest recruits, they are secretly popping the champagne corks and will be fighting like rats in a sack as they see themselves standing in these supposedly safe Tory seats. Well, I've got a message for these wet, net zero, fanatical, open borders wannabe MPs. Bring it on, we are waiting for you. The 2 main parties have done so much damage to our great country, but there's even a bigger threat on the horizon, and that's the Green Party. Yeah. A crazed bunch of ne'er-do-wells who are a serious risk to our very way of life. But guys, language matters. Language matters in politics. And just a few weeks ago, our leader, Nigel, described their leader as a bit of a lunatic. I'm not happy with this description. So as Chief Whip of the Reform Party, I want to apologise to every single lunatic in the world. Our country is in a perilous state. Just look at the lunatics running our country. We've got an health minister, or we had an health minister, who thinks it's okay for humans to identify as llamas. You've all heard that one, haven't you? We had a homeless minister who had to resign for making her own tenants homeless. We had an anti-corruption minister who had to resign for corruption. And then we've got Ed Miliband. He's running around fields with his ukulele, singing silly songs about the wind. If he did that in Nottinghamshire, he'd be carted off to the funny farm where he belongs. I'll tell you that now. And then, there's David Lammy. I'll just leave that there, shall I? You can make your mind about that. Many of you will have heard in the past say that my constituency, Ashfield, is the capital of common sense. Well, now, Nottinghamshire is the county of common sense. It really is. Trust me. It's a county where Robin Hood, the late Robin Hood, fought against tyranny to relieve the misery felt by people across our green and pleasant land. And today another type of misery is being felt by millions of people across our country, and we must fight back. A misery that was started by the previous Conservative government, and it's got worse under this awful Labour government. Well, Robert of Loxley is not here tonight, but we have Robert of Newark. He's waiting to come on. Rob's joined our band of merry men and our very own Maid Marian, Sarah Poaching, to help rid the politics of the two-party system. We will give people a choice, a clear choice, of what they want their country to look like. And history is repeating itself. Nottinghamshire is now a reform stronghold with 2 MPs and control of the county council led by the great Mick Barton. We are flanked by a reform-controlled Lincolnshire County Council with the brilliant Andrea Jenkins as Mayor and Richard Tice as the MP for Boston. On the other flank, we have Derbyshire-controlled County Council with Leicestershire County Council shoring us up in the south. And we will fight these political invaders from the south whilst we take control of the Red Wall. Meanwhile, the People's Army will fight on every front in the south, in Wales and in Scotland. Now, I've known Robert Jenrick for a number of years now, since I first entered Parliament in 2019. And let me tell you, he's put everything on the line by putting his country before his party. And along with me, he was the only MP who stood in 2019 as a Conservative and was re-elected in Nottinghamshire in July 2024. They said I couldn't win my seat as a Reform UK candidate, but how wrong they were. I won and my vote share went up. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. I was voted in because I listened to my constituents. I know what they want and what they expect from their MP. And I'm proud to have Robert in our camp, and like me, he will retain his seat at the next general election. And to you, and to those of you who think that he might be a little bit posh, well-groomed, very articulate, great in front of the camera, I say yes, he might be all of those things. But I can tell you about Rob. He knows what it's like to rough it. He's a man of the world. He's lived in the real life. Did you know he went to one of the roughest colleges in Cambridge? Is that true? He's shaking his head. It doesn't matter though, does it, what school or university someone went to? He went to Cambridge, I went down the pit, so what? It doesn't matter what sex you are, what colour your skin is, what sexuality you are, what your parents did for a living. We believe in meritocracy at Reform UK. If you respect our history, our heritage and our laws, then we want to hear from you. It really is that simple. Proud British folk from all walks of life are coming together. We are witnessing a political earthquake that has not been seen for 100 years. And this period of politics will be taught in schools in years to come and shed us all in a good light, mark my words. However, I visited a school recently in Ashfield that had a display board with the words far right and Nazis printed on it. And under these labels were pictures of Oswald Mosley, Mussolini, Nigel Farage and myself. It's not funny. Who laughed there? Somebody's laughing. Get them out. But this is what our kids are being taught in school by left-wing teachers. And my message is, leave our kids alone. Stop. Stop filling our children's heads full of left-wing nonsense and stop filling their bodies full of puberty blockers. Wicked. Reformers, you know we have a real battle on our hands. Us MPs promise you that we will dedicate our lives to saving our great country. Our volunteers will keep pounding the streets. Our council candidates will keep knocking on doors and delivering leaflets. Our councillors will keep delivering at our local councils. And all we ask in return is that you keep the faith, you keep supporting us, and never forget, we will take our country back. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Lee. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker caused quite a sensation last week. Well, it all started when Kemi Badenoch panicked, thinking he was going to leave the Tory party and join Reform UK. So she took to social media to fire him in the most public way possible, trying to get the upper hand. Unfortunately for her, it all rather backfired. Later that day, at a hastily arranged press conference in our HQ, we announced him as our latest Member of Parliament. He has been an MP since 2014. He served as Housing Secretary between 2019 and 2021 and was one of the most successful of recent times. He later served as Immigration Minister, where I have to say he took a very principled stand and he resigned over the failures of the last Tory government. He believes, and I agree with him, Britain is broken, and only Reform UK can fix this country. Before we meet him, let's remind ourselves of exactly what happened last week.
It's time for the truth. Those that came before us built a great country, but we are set to lose it. These people run Britain as if they hate it. But whilst this government is accelerating our decline, they didn't begin it. The Conservative Party betrayed its voters. They don't have the stomach for the radical change that Britain needs. Nigel was all too often a lone voice of common sense. They laughed at him. Well, they're not laughing now. I'm proud to join the more than 270,000 people who are members of Reform UK to join this incredible movement, a national movement that will pool Britain's talents, experience and expertise and deliver the real change we need. With Britain on the brink, in real danger, this is what we must do. Britain is broken. Britain needs reform, and reform needs you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the Member of Parliament for Newark, Robert Jenrick.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, good to see you, my friend. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. And there are thousands of you here tonight. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Well, thank you all very much for being here. And thank you for that very warm welcome. Let me say this. There is no other party that could produce an event like this at a few days' notice. And do you know why? Because there is no other party like this right now. This, my friends, this is a truly national movement, led by the force of nature, that is Nigel Farage. This is a truly national movement that together can and will save our country. That is what we're here for tonight. That's what motivates us. Now, last Thursday, slightly earlier than I expected, I was proud to become the 270,000th member of your incredible party. And you wait a long time for a defection, and then two come along all at once. And so I'm not even the newest Reform MP as I stand here tonight. And look, it may have happened a couple of days earlier than it would otherwise have done. But it was the right decision. It was the right decision. Kemi may have thought that she bounced me into it. She was wrong. I have never felt stronger and more certain about anything I have done in my life. Why? Because look at all of you here in this great town of Newark, supporters, activists, members of this brilliant party who have come together because you know, like I do, that you have been failed by politicians for decades. Because you know, and it pains me to say this, you know that Britain is broken. But you also know that it doesn't have to be like this. Britain is broken, but it's not broken beyond repair. You know that reform can fix it. But we're the only party. We are the only party that is going to do this. We're the only party that even recognizes the scale of the challenge. Since I said that Britain was broken on Thursday, Kemi Badenoch and Keir Starmer said it before. They said Britain isn't broken. They think everything is tickety-boo. Well, one is deluded and the other one's in denial. And you can guess which is which. They're both living in cloud cuckoo land. The truth that they won't tell you is that the country that we love, this great, ancient, beautiful country, is in serious decline. It really is. Between 1970 and 2007, wages grew by a third every decade. Well, they haven't grown since. Energy and housing cost more here than anywhere else in the Western world. It's no wonder our industry in counties, in our heartlands like Nottinghamshire, is disappearing, as it is across the country. Steel, car making, ceramics, glass, you name it, all gone. Thousands, millions of well-paid, proud jobs being lost. And thanks to Labour's brightest economist, as Lee Anderson would say, Rachel from accounts, your taxes are heading to the highest level ever. Yet despite all of that, nothing works, does it? NHS waiting lists at record highs, courts backlogged, prisons overflowing, town centres hollowed out, our army the smallest it's been in 200 years. And who's in charge? The worst government in my lifetime. Keir Starmer, Labour, giving away our territory and paying for the privilege, locking people up for mean tweets, prosecuting our veterans while giving payouts to terrorists. Can you believe that? Men who fought for this country during the period of the Troubles in the 70s and the 80s, spending the last days of their lives fearful of being hauled through the courts. How shameful is that? Exactly. Ending jury trials under Calamity Lammy. They've even been trying, I kid you not, to ban banter in pubs. Well, that's the pubs that they've not been barred from yet. That would not happen under Nigel, that's for sure. But here's the serious point. Labour are running Britain as if they hate it. A bunch of out of control, out of touch, out of their mind vandals. We cannot get rid of this lot soon enough. That's our mission, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we're fighting. But whilst undoubtedly the last 18 months or so under Labour have made all our problems worse, worse than I think any of us could even have imagined back at the general election, they didn't start them. The Conservative Party, with Labour, broke Britain. Labour started mass migration, but the Conservatives ramped it up. They did. Tony Blair put the human rights of terrorists and illegal migrants before our security. But so did the Conservative Party. I will never forget attending a meeting of the cabinet, all of the most senior people you can imagine, in Downing Street on a wintry night, where a plan was created to stop the boats. Everyone signed off on it. They knew it was a con. I was forced to resign, and I rebelled against my own party to fight for something that would actually work. Of all the Conservative MPs there were back then, 360 something or other, only 11 stood with me and went through those division lobbies. Only 2 of them are still in the Conservative Party today. All the others, they were basically willing to tell you, the British public, something they knew in their hearts was wrong. And it wasn't just about immigration. All the way back in 2008, our old friend Ed Miliband legislated for all this net zero madness. But Theresa May, she doubled down on the plan. And now Miliband's back with his ukulele, creating merry hell again, deindustrializing our country, impoverishing working people. The truth is, and it's a very painful one for people like me to say, it gives me no pleasure to say this, but in government, there wasn't a principle the Conservative Party wouldn't betray. Taxes left at a 70-year high. Debt tripled, defense hollowed, benefits exploding, prisons overflowing, our borders open. In joining reform, I've resolved to never, ever defend the indefensible again. The truth is, this wasn't an accident. It didn't just happen. The principles were betrayed because over time, too many Conservative MPs stopped believing in them. Now, many of them are nice, decent people. But let's be honest with ourselves. At least a third of them would feel more at home in the Lib Dems. They would. You know that. The truth is, they'd rather be out bungee jumping with Ed Davey than an event like this. But there are patriotic members of Parliament, like Andrew Rossendale, who I am so proud to welcome to Reform today. But they were the exception. They were the exception, not the norm. That's why people here in Newark, people across Nottinghamshire, across the Midlands, the North, the so-called Red Wall, the people who put them into government in the first place, these people, they were stabbed in the back. The last Conservative government stuck two fingers up to the very people who voted for them. They did. A betrayal like that must never happen again. Never, ever again. But don't worry. Don't worry. It's not gonna happen again. It's not. I confidently predict to you tonight that after the next election, you will be more likely to see a dodo or a woolly mammoth north of the Watford Gap than a Tory or Labour MP. Now, I didn't just leave the Conservatives because they can't fix Britain, and they can't. Take my word for it. I left them because Reform can, because Reform will fix Britain. When Nigel returned during the general election campaign, he said there is something happening out there. Well, if it's okay with Nigel, I want to update that tonight. Something has happened out there. What Nigel and Richard and Zia and Lee and Danny and Sarah and all of you, not just here, but across Britain, have done in the last year is incredible. It is historic. Because of Nigel's leadership, because of your energy, people are speaking up. In the pubs, in the offices, on the building sites, in the front rooms, even in the bedrooms, in the north, in the south, in Scotland, in Wales. People have had enough. They have. A quiet revolution is underway. People want their country back. And boy, are they going to get it. Let me tell you a little secret. They are trembling in those wooden panelled corridors in Westminster, in the tea rooms of the House of Commons, because they know the gig's up. They see Britain turning to the man who, when they were going crazy, was full of common sense. Nigel Farage. When the boat started crossing the channel, who was there saying it was outrageous? They laughed at him then. Well, they're not bloody laughing at him now, are they? And they're not going to be laughing at you either after the next general election, when that man is the next Prime Minister of this country. Nigel Farage has stood for the change we need for over a decade. I was a teenager when he first started saying that mass migration under Tony Blair is a disaster waiting to happen. He's been right. He's been consistent. He's known what the British people want for years. You know it. We know it. He will deliver it. So if you want to stop the boats, vote reform. End mass migration, vote reform. Have energy bills you can actually afford, vote reform. If you want to have police on the streets not looking at your tweets, vote reform. If you want an NHS that actually works, vote reform. If you want lower taxes, vote reform. And a government that unites our country, not divides it, respects our history, not trashes it, vote reform. All this I am telling you is within our grasp. But we can't be complacent. If we want it, we must fight for it. Fight with all we've got. Fight when it's tough. Fight when the opposition is slandering us. Fight when the odds are against us. So when all is said and done, when we're sitting easy in our armchairs in years to come, we can proudly tell our children and our grandchildren that we met this moment, that we rose to the challenge. We passed on to them this great, beautiful, ancient country that we inherited from them, those who came before us, that we passed it on better and stronger. So thank you, Nigel. Thank you, Reform. Thank you, Newark. Thank you, each and every one of you who've come from all over our country tonight. It's time to spread the gospel. Britain is broken, but it can be built up again. This is a great country. It can be greater still. Britain needs reform. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rob. Wasn't he great? Well, that brings us nicely to our final speaker. He's a man who quite literally needs no introduction. He is arguably the most famous politician in this country, if not the world. His career is long distinguished and most certainly varied. Thanks to I'm a Celebrity, he's gained a whole legion of new young supporters. Let me just tell you, he is a social media sensation. He is a man known for his straight-talking, no-nonsense approach. I've known him for many years. Last year, he was voted most influential politician in Britain at the Spectator Awards. YouGov now cites him as the most popular politician in the country. But soon, ladies and gentlemen, he will make history again when he becomes the next British Prime Minister. Before we meet him, let's see him in action.
We are all ships rising on a turquoise tide, headed towards winning the next general election. This government is deep in crisis. They are not fit to govern. The Conservative Party are riven. There is a new, strong, unified party, the party that stands up for decent, working people, and we are the party on the rise. The energy has been unbelievable. The enthusiasm has been extraordinary. You are the people's army.
Reform is now in government. And the big shout-out message, and it's very, very clear, is if you vote Reform, you get Reform. And when it comes to country, of what a nation is, this is where I do personally want to confront the Prime Minister head on.
No one cares more about the state of this country than I do.
There is nobody more determined than me.
But I tell you what, folks, that was just the beginning. Thank you very much indeed.
Please welcome to the stage the leader of Reform UK, Nigel Farage.
Good evening, Newark! Good evening, Nottinghamshire! And a big Reform welcome to Robert Jenrick! Well, what a day last Thursday was. There I was, up in Scotland, just outside Dundee, just taken the stage at 11 a.m. to do a press conference. And I was there with Lord Malcolm Offord, who I'd appointed leader of the party in Scotland, who nobly, honourably, has resigned his place in the House of Lords to run for Reform in the Scottish Parliament elections. How about that? Yep. He's given up the £300 a day. He's given up the subsidised lunch. He's given up the snooze on the benches in the afternoon. And he's going to run. And doesn't that say so much about this party, about this movement? People are prepared to give things up, to stand for us, because they know, as we know in this room, that Britain is broken and only Reform can fix it. Anyway, so there I was, I'd done my intro. Offord got up, I'm sitting there as poker face as I can be. And my press officer passes me a note. Jenrick has just been sacked by the Conservative Party, by Kemi Badenoch, for fraternisation and a plan to leave the Conservatives and join Reform. And I had to sort of pretend that I hadn't really seen it. Well, of course, the questions came thick and fast. Was I in negotiation with Robert Jenrick? Was he on the verge of defecting to Reform? And whilst I'd done my best to keep all this secret, because that's how I operate, there'd been a leaker. A leaker. We haven't found him yet, we will. Don't you worry. Anyway, we dealt with it, so I had to hot foot back to London. Quick phone call with Robert, well, let's do it. And the press conference. And the press room at Reform HQ was so packed with cameras, with people, it resembles something a bit like the Black Hole of Calcutta, I think. And we're waiting. I give a speech, and I say, enter. Stage right. I'm proud to announce our new recruit, Robert Jenrick MP. And then, nothing. He wasn't there. I did say out loud, maybe slightly nervously, has he changed his mind? And the time went on, and the seconds ticked away, and still, no Jenrick. I even suggested at one moment in time, perhaps we should play some music in the intermission. But sure enough, he arrived, he came on stage, he gave an absolutely, I must say honestly, an absolutely brilliant and passionate speech, and it seemed incumbent that the first thing we did in public was that I should come here, Robert, to your constituency, to meet your people, to stand with you. And I've got to tell you, in 48 hours, to fill this room with all of you here from Newark and the East Midlands, with a sense of energy and optimism and the vibe that I can feel in this room, I tell you what, Reform has done the right thing at accepting Robert Jenrick as a member. And there was something very interesting that Robert said in that speech that really hit home. He talked about a shadow cabinet meeting at which they discussed, is Britain broken? Let me ask you folks, is Britain broken? Yes! That's not what Kemi Badenoch thinks. That's not what the Conservative shadow cabinet thinks. They think it's not broken, we can fiddle around the edges, and it's all going to be okay. One or two of the more honest ones will admit we can't say Britain's broken, because if we say that, we admit that it's us that broke it. And we get the same from our Prime Minister. You know, the wooden top guy, Keir Starmer. He is like the wooden tops, isn't he? Everything's scripted. Incapable. Do you know, when he was elected PM, on the 5th of July, he stood outside 10 Downing Street, having known for a year that he'd win the election. He spoke for 9 minutes. In the course of 9 minutes, our wooden top PM looked down in his notes 158 times. We're led by someone who believes in nothing. We're led by someone who is not patriotic. We're led by someone who cares more about the international global order than he does about the rights and privileges of the British people. We're led by somebody who is a disaster. And of course, now the most unpopular Prime Minister in a short space of time we've ever seen. But he keeps saying, Britain isn't broken. Britain isn't broken. And Kemi Badenoch says, Britain isn't broken. But unless you're able to analyse correctly the extent, the depth of the problems that we're in, unless you're prepared to face up to the mess that politicians have created in our country, unless you face up to it, you haven't got a hope of fixing it. And we know that Britain is broken and that Britain needs reform. Britain needs reform. We're the only people with the courage to confront the truth. And what's amazing is, in the last opinion poll, 74% of people agree with us that Britain is broken. And we've got the guts, we've got the courage, we've got the resilience to do the tough and brave things that need to be done to save our country. Because frankly, folks, we're going down the drain. You know it, I know it. The next general election may be our last chance to turn this country round, and we are determined, and you know what? We are going to win that next general election. Now there are some of the newspapers said, isn't it terrible? Jenrick's joined Reform. There's a split on the centre-right of British politics. Oh, no, there isn't. I didn't hear, oh, yes, there is. Because actually what happened last Thursday was the standard bearer of the centre-right, the only standard bearer in the Conservative Party of the centre-right, the only significant Conservative political figure in Britain who's got energy, enthusiasm, who works hard, who believes in what he says and what he's doing. That last person joined Reform on Thursday, and on Thursday what you see was the centre-right of British politics now coming together as one under the banner of Reform. And since then, we had Nadeem Zahawi last Monday, we had Robert on Thursday, and last night, another one. Andrew Rosendale has joined Reform today, and we welcome him into our ranks. And I'll be in Romford with him very, very soon, and I've no doubt we'll have a similar enthusiastic audience of good, honest British folk who know we've got to turn this situation around. So tonight, at 6 o'clock, in the House of Commons, Conservative MPs were summoned by Kemi Badenoch. And the question is, who next? Who's the next defector? Shall I tell you tonight? Shall I share it with you? Oh no, that would spoil it. That would spoil it. Let's keep the speculation going, shall we? We, in this proud county of Nottinghamshire, are already very, very fortunate to have a nightclub stand-up comedian who moonlights as a Member of Parliament. We love Lee Anderson. We love Lee Anderson. He's terrific. He brings humour, he brings humanity, he brings passion to all that it does. You heard from Mick Barton earlier. And of course, the way we won this county on May the 1st was nothing short of spectacular, and thank you to all of you for backing us on that day. So now, Nottinghamshire has 2 Reform MPs and a council leader, and we're very proud of all of them. Now, we face a very major struggle, a big battle. May the 7th this year sees the whole of Scotland voting. It sees the whole of Wales voting. It sees all 32 London boroughs voting, and thousands of council seats, many in the West Midlands and other parts of the country. But there are 29 sets of local elections, which in some cases, for the 2nd year in a row, are being cancelled. And they're being cancelled at the connivance of both the Labour and the incumbent Conservative parties. Only a banana republic cancels elections, and we're going to fight them all the way on this. All the way. Indeed, my petition, my judicial review, will have its first hearing in the High Court in London at midday tomorrow, and we will do everything we can and we will fight for the values that we believe in. We will fight for family. We will fight for community. We will fight for country. And we're the only people that can bring back control of our borders. We're the only people that can stand up on the side of alarm clock Britain. We're on the side of people who get up in the morning, go to work, pay their taxes, obey the law, and nobody else is. We are more in touch with the centre ground of public opinion in this country than any of the rest of the other parties. We will replace the Conservative Party as the main opposition party in British politics. We will take on the Labour Party, who now appear to be splitting away to the left. The Greens. Oh, don't you like smoking heroin? The lunatic Greens are now beginning to eat up the Labour vote, let alone the growth of sectarian voting along religious lines. One of the most baleful things we've seen in British politics, frankly, in our lifetime. All of this is happening. So we are the voice of the silent majority. But we need the silent majority to become less silent. We need the silent majority to sign up, to register to vote. We need to get people who may never have voted in their lives onto those registers, out with us to help change the course of this country. And I'm also very pleased to see the number of 16 to 24-year-olds. I know, because they follow my TikTok account. Well, they follow my TikTok. I think they might have seen me in the jungle, eating and drinking a few things I'd rather forget about. But there's also a young vote out there that wants something, that craves something. They want to belong to something that matters. We've got to get them registered to vote as well. But there's only a limit. There's a limit to what our MPs, and by the way, there's now 7 of us. I won't say the Magnificent Seven, that's too corny, but you never know. There's a limit to what our MPs can do. There's a limit to what I as leader can do. There's a limit to what Mick Barton and our county councillors and our district councillors can do. There's a limit. Because you know what the most powerful thing of all is? In spreading messages and optimism and building grassroots organisations and getting people out to vote so that we can clear those hurdles and go on and win the next election. I'll tell you what the single most powerful thing is. It's you. It's the People's Army. If the People's Army are mobilised, if the People's Army are enthused, if the People's Army go out, talk to their friends, talk to their family, talk wherever they gather socially, whether it's the bingo, the golf club, or in my case, 40 years of touring British pubs. Can you imagine? But you are the people we need. You are the people that will make the difference. You are the people that will make the difference between us doing well and winning in that next general election. So let me conclude by asking, are you, are members of the People's Army prepared to stand up and do your bit, prepared to spread our message, prepared to do everything you can to turn around the decline and mess that our country is currently in? Are you prepared to do your bit? I couldn't hear you. Thank you. Now, let me ask, I want you please to stand up. No, this is not Billy Graham, it's not revivalist, I promise you. I want you to stand up if you are not a paid-up member of Reform. Can you stand up, please? If you are not a paid-up member of Reform. There they are, lurking. They're lurking at the back. I've got a couple. The rest are at the back. Right, lock the doors. I can only say to those of you that have come, lots of you there, who are not members of our organisation, for 25 quid, you become a paid-up member of the People's Army. For 25 quid, you become a shareholder, not just in us as a party and a political organisation, you become a shareholder in the future of the organisation that is going to bring about radical change and put this country back on the right track. Part of an organisation that actually respects and loves what our predecessors did to give us the liberties and freedoms that we've enjoyed in our lives. Part of an organisation that is utterly determined to pass on those liberties and freedoms to our children, our grandchildren, and generations yet unborn. So please, come, join us, help us. To the rest of you, thank you so much for turning up in such amazing numbers at short notice. And I want to ask, can I ask the other speakers to come back on stage? Now, you would expect as a finale, would you not, 1 or 2 fireworks? So I think we'll manage that. Very, very good. Lee, very, very good. Nick, very, very good. Lee, come close.